Take out your focus, your study guide, please. Let's go. Focus and study guide. Oh, and your cell phone or planner, whatever you are. So, I have an exciting announcement. I officially got approved AP mock exam. Yes! I know. I'm right there with you. I'm so excited.
Mr. Misano.
Yeah.
I'm trying to convince Mr. Misano to do something.
Oh, we had a meeting yesterday during lunch.
April?
Hey, field trip.
Yeah, can we have a field trip to like a psych ward?
No.
Isn't this just great?
Yes.
Oh
Oh my god.
Hello. You need to know that on Saturday, April 7th at 8 a.m., you will be in Plan High School's cafeteria at 7:55 at the latest. I start promptly at 8. If you show up late, you will start exactly when you sit down and you will end when everyone else is, because you ain't special. I'm not keeping a special clock. You know how hard it is for me to keep time. Okay? So, you guys will be done by 10:15 at the latest.
Yes.
Okay? So, your test is only 2 hours and like 15 minutes really at the end of the day. Depending on how fast we start dictates how fast we end. Please keep in mind, AP World is going to be sitting right there with you. And when you leave, they have about another 2.5 hours to go.
Wait, is this gonna go into our grade?
Yes.
What?
But doesn't that just like, what if someone just fails it? Like this is supposed
Wait,
to be a
there's
mock
two
Can
mock
I get?
exams?
Hey, first of all, there's a heavy and moderate curve right here. So calm down the horses for a second. Let me get through my little spiel.
This is the one
I've
that
been doing
don't
this.
have to worry my grade about. You're
Well,
making me worry.
of course,
now.
You can't give a test, my grade will go down.
Exactly.
Can we continue here, please? Give me a second. I'll probably answer all of your questions. So, you have 2 of them. You have to be at both. You have 2 mock exams. You'll be at both. The first one is on the 7th, and there is a moderate to heavy curve. That is after the first week of review. Now, there will be no opportunity to drop any of the questions that I've reviewed that week. However, it is a generous curve because I haven't reviewed some of this stuff, like, for instance, biology. Okay, sensation and perception. Ugh, I know we just covered it, but I hate it so much. So, like, there is a generous curve on the first test.
We can
Okay?
take 2 mock exams.
Yes. Will you
Why
let me
can't you take
finish?
2 of them?
Can't. It's not a little much.
Hey,
No.
no practice.
That's a little much.
I'm trying. We need more teachers.
Can
to
we
do
vote
this.
on that?
I'm waiting for you to tone it down. Now, I appreciate that you are outwardly expressing your thoughts. Just watch my boy over here have
Can
a
we
mental
vote on
breakdown.
it?
So, what that means is that you are going to come in. How it's going to be used. You're going to be there for 2 hours and 15 minutes. Keep in mind, my AP World kids are there for till about 12:15,
Are they
12:30.
taking 2?
They're doing 2 as well. They'll be there at the same time. Their life is much harder. You're going to be there for 2 hours and 15 minutes. You have 70 minutes for your multiple choice. You have 50 minutes for your FRQs. Okay? What that means is, yes, 2.5 hours is going to be really crappy. 2 hours, 15 minutes, whatever it comes out to, is really crappy. I get it. For every one of you in this room right now, it is going to take me between about 15 to 25 minutes per kid to score your multiple choice and both of your FRQs. You will get your multiple choice fully scored back to you that following Monday. What that means is when we're sitting in class, I'm going to project the answers, I'm going to give you back the test, and I'm going to allow you to go through and ask me any questions you have, but more importantly, we're going to count up what type of questions you're getting wrong. So if you had 100 questions, and out of the questions you got wrong is 20, and 8 of them are on sensation and perception, what do you really need to focus on?
Sensation and perception.
But if you got nothing wrong on biology, what shouldn't you really spend your time studying for?
Biology.
It allows you to see that in a major way, and that's why we do it. So that Monday, we're looking at multiple choice. Any of those questions, we're going to answer, we're going to discuss, go over those results. Then on Tuesday, although they'll be graded on Saturday, because I spent all day Saturday doing AP Psych, that Saturday, I'll have your FRQs done. I typically finish around, I go to brunch with Bay, and then I go and I sit at my kitchen table, and I sit there and grade till about 7, 8 o'clock at night for AP Psych. On Tuesday, we will go over all those answers, which will be scored just like the AP exam. So then, after, I'll be able to tell you what you would have scored on the AP exam, comparing them. Now the second one, which is on the 28th, has less of a curve to no curve. That's after a couple weeks of review. All of these both of them are worth 100 points each. If you show up, and at least if you're not Christmas treeing it, you're going to be fine on the first one, can't guarantee it on the second one. Now I know for a fact that you know me, that you know that I'm not out here to ruin children's lives.
You,
And I'm not here to ruin grades.
So we
So,
can study for 3 exams essentially if we want to
no,
get
darling, I'm not expecting any of you to study for the first one.
But we can study for the second one.
Well, we're going through, and every day in class we're working for it. You will see. Have faith. This is my 4th year in a row doing it, my darling. Oh, yeah. Look at my pass rate.
it's hot.
Yes, it's very high.
Yeah.
Oh, I know. Oh, I hate you all so much. I hate you all so much.
You go.
Okay?
Got 'em.
So, what do you got, Gabriel?
There goes my weekend.
Yeah, I don't care. Cool. You're 2 hours. I'm going to be doing. This is literally all I do on Saturday. All I do on Sunday. It is everything. You're definitely not going to interrupt my class. It's an inconvenience for you. It's also a bonding experience to a degree. You didn't take a bending class unless you did a mock exam.
It's not a
Kind of. Everyone goes gets brunch after. Ella.
Really?
They all go
Yeah.
get lunch?
Wait,
On
do
the
we need the crate?
28th, I'm taking the ACT.
Okay.
And the 12, like,
No, you're fine. Yeah,
Okay.
I will set up.
okay, okay.
Miss
Here,
Bennett.
let me get there.
Do we
Nico.
meet Bay?
Huh?
Do we meet Bay?
They will be there.
Miss Bennett.
Okay,
so
yes!
this year.
They will show up.
Miss Bennett.
Actually, he may not be there for you. He'll be there for the end of AP World.
He wasn't there last year.
He was there for AP World.
Miss
He
Bennett.
was.
Why do I do this?
That's the reason I
There.
joined the class.
To see Bay?
Yes.
He's cute. He's cute.
Miss Bennett.
Miss Bennett, he's really ugly. I don't think
So, are there optional?
I've seen it.
he's not ugly.
What did you just say?
If he's ugly after how many times he said he's cute?
I
He's
said
handsome.
he's not. I said he's not.
handsome.
Good. I said he's good.
He's handsome.
How do you know?
He's
Jackson?
Yeah.
Oh,
you guys do?
Jackson, he is in the-
I pity you, Miss Bennett.
Okay, Miss Bennett. We played Jesuit.
I'm well aware. I've already looked at the schedule. I know. So, it's at 1. You'll be done at 10.
Ooh.
face.
Look at me. No
Okay.
sleep.
And then we have like a 2-hour drive after that.
To Jesuit?
No, it's IMG. It's not actual.
Oh, I
Jesuit,
don't
it's
care about
Delayed
that.
Jesuit.
It wasn't on the schedule.
Oh.
Huh?
Oh, yeah. Wait.
Jackson,
Jackson
once every
Jackson
day.
cares about it.
No, Jesuit.
We can leave when we're done,
Give him
right?
some credit.
Is it Balin Jesuit?
Yeah.
Did you talk to Ron? Their Persian is good.
Can we move forward here?
The
So,
costume is terrible.
If you cannot
With
be
the
there
shot
on that
video.
Saturday, Jackson, you're going to want to listen. If you cannot be there and there is a legit reason, and I'm talking ahead of time,
Then I'm talking
I'm talking about a very legit reason. Baseball practice doesn't fly. This is my 4th year here at Plant. You'll be with me on Saturday. I'll be happy to sit down with Braun.
You haven't done that already?
No.
Okay.
I already checked. You don't have a baseball game that day.
Oh, no, we don't have games on Thursday.
No, I know. So I've already, me and Braun, besties.
The one that
I've been
don't
sitting on that golf cart before and got my way. So I'll talk to
You
him
got
in
me
the detail.
last year.
Yeah. So, with that being said, if there's a legitimate excuse that you just cannot be there, I have a couple kids who have states on the 7th and stuff like that. It's a legitimate excuse. I'll be more than happy to set up an alternative time. You still have to do it. You still have to complete it. But please keep in mind that if you don't come on Saturday, that means you're coming after school one day and it's a 2.5-hour test. So if you do it at 2, you're done at 4:30. If you do it at 3, you're done at 5:30. Do you want to come to me after school on a day and sit there and take a test?
Oh, man.
No, it's really awful.
It's an hour shorter than getting out of Peru.
I mean, not yet.
So, thank you for sharing. So, with that being said, it really is better just to show up on Saturday. I don't want to see you. I'll be wearing my yoga pants and a sweatshirt, and I'll have a massive cup of coffee in this hand, and on my desk, on my little table that I'll take over, we'll have 2 large venti teas. Okay, and I will be cranky to be there. I'm not going to be, this isn't an opportunity for me to hang out with you because I don't. Okay, please understand the big picture. This is way worse on me than it is on you, but the outweighs that cost is how well you guys are going to do on the AP exam. That's why I do it. It works. That's why Masano's trying to do it.
Wait.
That's why other teachers around school are trying to do it because my scores are boss.
Oh, we didn't either.
We'll figure it out. However, it has to be a legit excuse. So it's honestly just better show up, get it done, and leave. Everyone goes, gets brunch after. Everyone goes, hangs out, or goes home and goes back. I really don't care. But you don't have a Bennett class unless you did the mock exam. And it's really not as bad as some of you are making it out to be. It's really not. You're there for 2.5 hours. My AP World kids are there till 12:30, and they're writing.
I work Sunday. Monday's my day to sleep in. Saturday's my Sunday.
I'm so sorry, darling.
Sleep in.
Sorry, darling.
Saturday's my
What?
day to sleep in.
If I get an A raw, will you take a picture with me since you refused at Kodos? Take a picture with like 20 other kids.
Yeah.
And then you're
Why is that a thing? That's weird. And why are you thinking about that now? Weird. Yes, that's weird, right? Weird.
Someone has to go to dinner with you for makeup.
Yeah, no, gross.
Did you?
No.
Really? Yeah.
Alright, here we go. So, make those. I'm well ahead of a month out, people. You have time to adjust. If you need me to send an email to a coach, I'll make a personal stop at Brown's office. I'll go check him out myself and make sure he understands what's going on because I blew up some baseball worlds last year. Oh, yeah. There was a lot of running involved. You people are liars trying to put me. No, hell no. I won. I don't know. You guys run for like 2 weeks. I don't know.
No, I had to run for 20 laps.
Oh, because he was lying.
I had to run 20 laps.
You guys had to run.
Lion.
baseball?
Here we go. So, make your plans accordingly. It's really not that bad. It's really not, and it is important. And I already have kids from the other AP Psych class asking if they can come to this. Which I'm going to say no because I don't want to grade
Oh,
their
it's just us?
Yeah, it's just Bennett kids.
Just this period?
No.
So it's just us that have to be tortured.
That'd be so fun to be.
Darling, you have no idea how much you need to get ready for this AP exam, my love. So, at the end of the day, it's about preparing you. That's why it's a good thing. Here we go. On your focus and on your study guide. Let's go. What?
So, when we can't make it, like,
I will have
is there days?
options for you.
Okay.
But I have to start organizing it because I'm not offering 13 days or like crazy number. Like it's going to be like 4 opportunities or less.
Okay.
I will give you plenty of notice just like I'm doing now. I used to do it with Toledo, so she would do like 3, I would do 3, and we used to work, but now I'm all alone because I'm unloved and she left me. But Toledo may be there.
Yay.
I know. Yeah,
I love
she
Miss Toledo.
is an idiot. All right, here we go. So this is nowhere, just listen. I think it is very clear that mental illness has a negative perception in the world. Yes? That if you have any type of disorder, then it's seen as a negative, not as a positive. We're in a better place than we have been in society. However, it's still not great. People historically, thank God, we're past this, used to think it was the devil. That the devil is inside of you. Some people believe that people who are mentally ill were witches and warlocks. So that's pretty cool. We used to burn them at the burn them at the stake. So that's pretty cool.
What are the body's for humans?
Oh, it's his theory, and I haven't talked about it since college, and I'm not going to Google it.
What's his name?
What?
Who's he talking
Hypocrite. A hypocrite.
How are you gonna, I mean, I wanna know how you see mental illness as like,
Well, I mean, nothing about it. I mean, they're abnormal, which means it's not normal. But to see it as, like, it is the devil inside of you. I mean, my sister has depression. She has also other issues, but she has depression. I don't think she's a terrible human being. I think that's her kind of burden to bear. Does that make sense? This is on your focus, by the way. So, on your study guide, by the way. So, the psychopathology is the study of abnormal behavior. So, it is looking at all of the disorders. What is the name of a disorder that we know? Of a psychological disorder? Give me one. Schizophrenia, yes! Personality. There you go. Personality disorders. Give me another one. What's the most common one in the world? 35 million people here in the United States. Huh?
Personally.
OCD, no, that's not that common.
Depression.
Depression. 35 million people in the United States have depression. The fastest rising one?
Anxiety.
Anxiety disorders are the fastest rising one. Congratulations. Your generation has more people diagnosed with anxiety disorders than anyone else.
That's terrible.
Sociopath is one, absolutely. So we've been aware of these disorders. So this week we're really going to get into it, which I'm really excited about. So psychological disorders, which is also on your study guide. And I'm going to get to your focus here in a second. But your psychological disorders are any pattern of behavior that causes significant distress, causes them to harm others, or harm their ability to function in their daily life. If my sister stops taking her medication, okay, my sister is going to sit at home on her couch, not go to work, not bathe, not eat well. She's not going to go to the gym. She's not going to socialize, and she's going to fall into a very dark, 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 dark place. That's what happens if Kim doesn't take her meds. That is a psychological disorder. It harms your ability to function. So, every single person in this room knows multiple people with depression and anxiety disorders. Every single person in this room. I can tell you off the top, I can come up with like 50 kids here at Plant who have an anxiety disorder or depression. It's very, very common. You may not know because it's not your business to know if it's other people. And it might be you sitting in this room. It's very, very common. It's only growing because people are more aware of it. And thankfully, people are really starting to understand that psychological disorders aren't necessarily aren't ideal. No one's like, oh man, I'm so upset I wasn't born with depression. But they're not a game changer and ending your life kind of thing. So,
Lucky you are.
actually I am in a second. So if you look at number 1 on your focus, I'm going to fill it out right here. So what is psychonumerology? No, that's not what it is. What is it? Psychopathology. And what are the aspects? So write down your psychopathology. You already did it on the study guide. I'm going to fill in the other 2 parts of it here in a second. So when we study abnormality, you need to know that they're statistically rare. However, some disorders are much more prevalent than others. 0.05% of the population are born with schizophrenia. You may know a person with schizophrenia in your entire little world. They could be a distant uncle, cousin. I know there's been at least one kid at Plant that I know was diagnosed with schizophrenia. The thing is, with schizophrenia, you typically don't get diagnosed until your mid-20s. So everyone in this room could have schizophrenia. And we'll never know until your mid-20s, once your hormones kind of calm down. Okay, because right now you're all on like a hormone buzz. Once that calms down, then schizophrenia typically kicks in your 20s. But it's only 0.05% of the population. So these are subjective discomfort and maladaptive are the 2 parts that play a role in, and this is number 1. I want you to fill this out number 1. Number 1, yeah, right. Subjective discomfort and maladaptive. Write out what they are, please. No, I don't need that. So, when we talk about how do we diagnose abnormal, we do talk about what's normal and what's abnormal. I think we can all agree, even though I'm not diagnosed with a disorder, I'm not very normal. However, in the psychological terms, I am not normal because I don't have a disorder. I got crazy, but I am not diagnosed disorder. So what is subjective discomfort? It's emotional distress or emotional pain due to the personality, due to the disorder. My sister has depression. I will tell you now, she's been in treatment now for over almost 16 years. And it still gives her great anxiety. She doesn't like that she has depression. I will tell you right now, she wishes she could get rid of that depression. She would do anything in the world to get rid of it, but she doesn't, but she's working through it. With that being said, the subjective discomfort is the emotional stress of it, is that it takes a toll on her. Every couple years, she has like a kind of like a breakdown over it. And it's caused because of the fact that she thinks she doesn't need to take meds, so she doesn't take meds. And then her depression gets wild and out of control. And during the last bout, she decided to treat it with alcohol. Yeah, that is a terrible way to treat depression. So, maladaptive is anything that does not allow a person to function within or adapt to the everyday stresses of life. Perfect example of these people who have maladaptive is when you can't brush your teeth, dress yourself, wipe your butt. If you can't do those things, it's maladaptive. Does that make sense? You can't cook for yourself, feed yourself. It's all maladaptive, and these words we're going to be using throughout the whole next 3 weeks.
Do we put the abnormality in statistical or social norms?
I don't think so. No, you don't. You just need subjective discomfort and maladaptive. What up?
But no, what do we put for the 2 boxes?
What do you mean?
Abnormal, statistical, and abnormal social norm deviance.
Well, we haven't gotten there. If
They're up
you
on the screen right now.
you can write, I mean, situational, statistical, they're rare. I'm coming back to that. I'm not dealing with that. Let me do what I'm telling you to do, and we'll fill in a bunch. What? I don't care. That's fine. So, here we go. So, insanity. What you're going to write down on your study guide, it's right there. You're going to write, insanity is the inability to control. Insanity on your study guide. The inability to control your thoughts and your behavior. The inability to control your thoughts and your behaviors. So insanity, we've all heard Hollywood uses the insanity clause, or, oh, I'm insane when I can't be held accountable for my actions. It's actually not used that commonly. When it is used, you do forfeit all of your rights as an American citizen. You know that, right? That once you cop to an insanity plea, they can throw you into prison. They can throw you into a mental institution, and you don't get to challenge. You know that, right? So if you're planning on murder spree, and then you're just gonna say, "Oh my God, I'm insane," it really doesn't work out the way it does in Hollywood. It takes a lot of work to prove. So this is on your focus. At the very bottom, you're gonna see number 5 at the bottom. That's where I fill it out. And that's what I want. Please listen for 2 seconds, and then you're going to go. How I teach the next 3 weeks is that I'm going to teach you a disorder, so depression, and then I'm going to go through the 4 major perspectives of how each perspective sees it. Biological, psychodynamic, cognitive, behavioral, and then all of the above. So 4 major perspectives. If you don't understand what each perspective stands for, which I'm going to go through in the next 5 minutes, then you're totally screwed for this week, next week, and the final week. Because everything in the next 3 weeks is based on perspective. So write this down for number 5, please. So the biological model is the model of explaining behavior caused by biological changes in the chemical, structural, or genetic systems of the body. You got it done? Sure. So what that means is that your body, and what I would write for example, is that your body's chemical and physical makeup causes the disorders. What that means is a real life example, and I really do believe in the biological more than I do the other ones. My sister has depression according to the biological perspective because she has a lack of serotonin in her brain. She was born with less, which is why she has depression. I completely agree with it, and that's why I think my sister has depression. Okay? So here we go. Next one is psychoanalytic. On yours it says psychodynamic. They're the same things in this context. So, psychoanalytic looks at things a little bit differently. It's a different perspective. So looking at my sister's depression, they would say something traumatic happened in my sister's life, which dictates her repressing that situation, which is causing her depression. Isn't that crazy? Like, my sister's depressed, they think, because she had a situation and she never coped with it, so now she's repressed it, and now that's causing her to be pressed today. What do you think? You think? I think it could work in some situations, absolutely. Like, for instance, if I was, sexually abused or raped or anything like that, I would have to repress, and I think that would cause depression. I agree. This one is okay. I'm all right with this one. So, in your example box, I would say repressed memories causing depression would be a good example. Then your next one is behaviorists. They see abnormal behavior as learned. So according to a behaviorist psychologist in my sister's depression, my sister learned to act this way and to be depressed by watching someone else do it. and getting that reinforcement. So the first time my sister was sad and everyone was like, Kim, why are you sad? Like, what's going on? And she got all that attention. The behaviorist would say, oh, she liked that attention, so guess what she kept doing? She kept being sad, and now she's depressed in order to get more attention. Do you think that's why my sister's depressed? I don't think that's a good answer. However, for some of them, I do like. And then you have cognitive theorists.
What should we put for these?
I just gave you one, darling. Cognitive theorists, they see it as irrational beliefs and illogical thinking patterns. So if I brought my sister to a cognitive therapist and asked, hey, my sister has depression, what should she do? The cognitive therapist would be like, well, the reason why she has depression is because she thinks people like her better this way. What? That she'll be, that she's going to achieve all of her life goals as long as she acts depressed. Does that make any sense to you? That's cognitive. They always think it's illogical thinking patterns. That she's making decisions that make sense to her, and that's why she acts depressed.
So you say
That a cognitive therapist would say, my sister acts depressed because she thinks it's going to help her achieve all of her life's goals.
Where does this go?
Number 5. Now, all of the above, you're going to want to write this down. It's when a psychologist or psychiatrist uses
Where?
all of the above. When a psychologist and a psychiatrist uses all the perspectives in order to diagnose and treat. So, in your box, in your example, I would write cognitive, behaviorist, psychoanalytic, and biological. All right. So, to the boards, here we go. On your whiteboard, please tell me if I believe that schizophrenia is caused by watching my mother's erratic behavior, then what am I? If I believe my schizophrenia is caused by watching my mother's sporadic behavior, what is it, Alexis? Behaviorist. On your whiteboard, please tell me, what is it called? The study of psychological disorders. Good. What is it, Patrick?
Psychopathology.
On your whiteboard, please tell me, what are the 2 parts that make up psychopathology? Good. Come on, come on, come on. What is it, Avery? There you go. On your whiteboard. What is it called if I believe that dissociative identity disorder or multiple personalities is caused by the belief that by having different personalities, I'll be able to achieve much more in life? Good. What do you got, Elijah? Cognitive. On your whiteboard, please tell me. I believe that depression is caused by a lack of serotonin in the brain. This is a genetic / inherited component. What is it, Kristen? Biological. On your whiteboard, please tell me. I believe that my sister's depression is caused by a terrible experience in her childhood. Her 3rd birthday party was terrible, and she's now still coping with how terrible her 3rd birthday was. What is it, Maddie? There you go. So, when we talk about culture, just listen, it's not on your study guide. Cultural relativity is that every culture has a different impact on its citizens. So, what country has the highest stress level?
No, South Korea.
South Korea, Japan, and China have their highest anxiety rates. So because of that, they have more what type of disorders?
Depression.
Anxiety disorders, depression as well. So some other cultures have unique disorders or syndromes that are unique only to them. I don't think this is anywhere, is it? I don't think so. So just listen. Some societies have specific syndromes that are only for their culture because their culture is so unique. Japan has tons of these, and it's usually sex-based. I don't know what the hell happened to Japan post-World War II, but like things got wild over there. But you can buy women's underwear in vending machines.
Yeah.
You smell
I'm sure that's
I'm sure that's where it's going.
Oh, hey,
All right, so on your focus is where I want to go. I want you to look at number 6. We're going to fill out the DSM-4. Okay, so please listen. Are you going to be able to pull it together? Gabriel, yes?
yeah.
Okay. The DSM, the Diagnostic Statistician Manual, is the DSM. The 4 is the IV. It's Roman numerals, correct? We got that? All right. So the DSM-4 is a version that's used to diagnose and lay out the treatment of psychological disorders. Every doctor, psychologist, psychiatrist, and government official who deals with healthcare has a copy of this manual. It is for both medical and government use, which we're going to talk about here in a second. What?
You were saying that there's open public vending machines with underwear.
Yep.
Yes.
And they just walk around with underwear on
I don't know if it's that, but sweetie, I don't know.
Wait, is it used underwear?
I'm so sorry to mention it. I clearly can't. So, here we go. Don't worry, the moment I said it is the moment I regretted it. Okay, so please listen. I just want you to do the axes first, and then we'll come back and do the explanation. So, axis 1, there's 5 total. Axis 1, just write clinical disorders.
Do we have to leave room for more?
No, that's it. I'm going to fill in those boxes. So just in axis 1, just write clinical disorders. In the first box, where it says axis 1, just write clinical disorders. That's it. Don't write what I have up there. Just write clinical disorders. We're going to fill in all that information here in a sec. Your second axis, you're going to write personality disorders and mental retardation. Your third axis, you're going to write general medical conditions. Your fourth, psychosocial environmental problems, and the fifth, so you can just copy 3, 2, 3, 4, and 5, exactly what I have up there. Are any of your parents coming tonight? It's parent-teacher conferences. Oh, okay, cool. It's fine, I didn't want to speak to them anyway, but I just straightened my hair in case they wanted to.
I don't think you would. Is that why you dress so nice?
Yes, of course. That's why I put on real makeup today. I already had one conference today. No, I put on like makeup and then I put on good makeup.
Oh, the expensive ones.
Well, I actually put effort in. There's like eyeshadow on today, so props. Alright, here we go. Please stop. Don't write anything else into the explanations. I'm going to tell you exactly what to write. We're going to fill in a bunch of stuff. So what happens is that you walk into the office, you're a psychologist, psychiatrist, whatever it is, and you sit down and say, hello, doctor. I'm pretty sure I have depression. And they're going to be like, okay, well, why would you say that? Well, I don't want to be in social situations. Sometimes it gets really dark in my head. I have a hard time getting out of bed in the morning. I have a hard time finding any happiness. I really think I have depression. So what the doctor is going to do, he, she, whoever is going to go to their DSM, look at their axis 1, and say, oh, if you have all of these qualifications, then you must have depression. There you go. That's how we diagnose. So in the explanation, here we go. It is used to diagnose disorders like depression, Put a big underline under depression. It's the most common one used. Okay, don't write anything else down until I tell you to. Depression, mood disorders, schizophrenia. I'm pointing out the spelling for you. Somatoform disorders. It's right there. So you should have depression, schizophrenia, mood disorders, and somatoform disorders. Please put them there. Somatoform as well, please. Okay? So, Axie 2, if you go in and say, hey, doctor, I have a problem. Sometimes I'm Samantha Bennett, the classroom teacher, wife. Sometimes I'm a 4-year-old boy who likes to play toys and smash things. I think I have dissociative identity disorder. What happens is your psychiatrist goes to their DSM, looks at Axie 2. Do you have this? Do you feel this? Do you feel this? Do you feel this? Then you must have dissociative identity disorder, which is a personality disorder. So Axie 2, you're going to write down used to diagnose anxiety disorders, and dissociative disorders. Dissociative is right here. Okay, also, of course, mental retardation. Now, keep in mind, when we talk about mental retardation, are people diagnosed when they're 15, 16, or very young? Very young. How do we know if a baby has mental retardation? They don't hit the what?
Benchmarks.
Nope, they're not benchmarks. Milestones! Patrick coming in clutch. Milestones, that's how we diagnose. So, if you bring in a baby and you're like, hey, my baby isn't crawling, your doctor is going to open the DSM and say, oh, at this stage your baby should be doing, they're behind. This is what it's used for. My child can't go up the stairs at a quick pace. It struggled going upstairs. Oh, at this stage, they should be able to do it. That's what it's there for. It's used to diagnose. Nico.
I mean, isn't it like autism and Down syndrome?
What?
As the mental retardation? Or is there more?
There's tons of them.
Oh,
Yeah, we
no,
did
I was
3 or 4 when we
it's
were
for
going
Down
through it.
syndrome stuff, you just tell when
Yeah, absolutely, but sometimes you can't tell, and that's why it's all there. And doctors are picking it up, so you don't need to go to psychiatrists and psychologists. They can diagnose, which is why they have it as well. So Axis 3 is your general medical conditions, and you're going to want to write this down. This is for people who have physical presentations of disorders and don't know what they go to. So, for instance, if you have schizophrenia, you have 3. If you check your neurotransmitters, you have an abundance of dopamine in your brain,
What was that? And don't know what?
and don't know what the disorders are. So, what we have is for people who don't know what they had. They go into the office and they're like, something is wrong. I don't know what it is. Something's off. And they start doing literal tests on your body to figure out what you have. Well, do you have this? Do you have this? Do you have this problem? And they go through medically and try to figure out what type of disorder you have. Axie number 4 is psychosocial and environmental problems. What that means is looking at how you or how the patient interacts with the world around them. Looking at how the patient interacts with the world around them. So say, for instance, you have a hard time walking because of your schizophrenia. That would be part of the environmental issues. Everything is being documented for Axie 5. So, did you know that the parents of the children who are in our special needs program here at Plant, they get a supplement every month from the government? Does anyone know what it's called? It's called disability. Have you ever heard the Disability Act? Disability check? Have you never heard anyone say, oh, I'm waiting for my disability check?
I didn't know I'd applied to people.
Of course.
I mean, that makes sense.
Yeah. Well, the whole reason why is because think about it. If a parent had a child with special needs, okay, is it going to make their life easier or harder? Harder, absolutely. It's very hard. Having a kid is hard. Having a kid with special needs is very hard. What would most people, okay, if you don't take care of your kid, who has to take care of the kid? The government, correct? The government, it's going to fall to the government to raise the kid. That is very expensive. Can we agree? So what the government does under the American Disability Act, which we created in the 1960s, what it does is that it writes checks to people who have developmental issues. So anyone under the age of 21 technically still falls under the parent's care. We write a check to their parents dictating, depending on how severe it is, and allowing them to help keep their kid at home because at the end of the day, it saves the U.S. government money. Do we see why it's there? This is important, and this is why I'm telling you this. How much you get from the government is decided on the DSM. How it's accounted for is the Global Assessment of Functioning. I would write this down. The U.S. government uses, enough explanation, the U.S. government uses this information to determine how much federal money is received. And obviously it has to be completed by a psychologist, psychiatrist, or doctor. So, if you are someone who has depression, but you're able to go around to work on a regular basis, you have very low, high functioning depression, do you get a check from the government? No, my sister has a job. She does not get a check from the government.
Disability thing?
Disability. So, what happens is that if you have depression and you can't leave your house, guess what the government sends you? A check in order to keep the rent on, keep the lights on, and food in your fridge. Not a ton, but it's there to help kind of subsidize. It's also created under Social Security. What?
I have a question of access to.
Sure.
For personality disorders. Would gender dysphoria qualify as a personality disorder?
I don't know. That is a newer question that they're trying to figure out. Now, there is a DSM-5.
I've read so I didn't.
I don't know if it's officially in it. I don't know if it would qualify. Are you talking about qualifying for a check?
No.
Or like life?
I mean qualifying as in like, would it like?
It's a disorder and it is a personality disorder because it's
Okay.
abnormal.
That's
And that's how it would fall into it, but I don't know if it's officially made it into the book.
Because I read something from the like American Psychiatric Association. They kind of like covered it briefly.
There
But
you go.
I didn't know like how they would like define.
I'm not sure. I'm pretty sure it's in the new one because there's DSM-5 now,
Okay.
and I'm pretty sure they included it. So when we talk about the DSM and its 5 axes, it's important to know it's used to diagnose and it's helped in the treatment of all things. So they say if you have this disorder, then these are the treatments you should suggest in using. So it's very, very helpful. Psychologists and psychiatrists just have it out on their desk on a regular basis. All doctors have it on a shelf somewhere in case they need it for any psychological disorders. It's a very big deal. Keep in mind, 1/5 of all adults over the age of 18 are going to have a mental disorder in any given year. Keep in mind, some disorders, my sister's had her depression, which is a mental disorder, since the age of 14, and she has it every single day, every single year, and she'll probably have it to the rest of her life because she doesn't have enough serotonin in her brain because her body doesn't produce it. With that being said, Gabriel, you may go through a batch of depression. You may have a couple bad life events happen. You could go through a bout of depression for about 3 months to a year or 5 years and kind of work your way out of it. Okay? So, current, all right. Perfect. Pros and cons. Here we go.
We do the last one.
What's the last one? Yeah, we just did it. So, pros and cons. It's important that you are labeled. If every year I always have kids who sit in my class and be like, Miss Bennett, see ya.